2023 saw the introduction of the Canadian Disc Golf Tour. 8 events from east to west, showcasing the best talent this country has to offer. We saw shocking comebacks, incredible performances, and some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. The opening chapter was the Tournament Capital Open. Casey Hannemeyer, Max Regitnig, and Thomas Gilbert gave us unforgettable moments with stroke swings, lead changes, and a final round ace, climaxing in a deciding final hole. Julie Mowens overcame a strong FPO field, engraving the Mowens family name on yet another trophy. By the year's conclusion, Casey Hannemeyer and Colleen McInnes were crowned champions, writing their names indelibly into the canon. But it was only the beginning. Turning the page, we're back in Kamloops, British Columbia to start another season. It's the tournament capital of Canada, and for good reason. Lakes, hills, forest, and desert, all surrounding twin rivers, make for an unforgettable backdrop. Disc golf might bring you here, but Kamloops will keep you here. Back-to-back champion Thomas Gilbert is here for another sequel, and Julie Mowens is hoping to play protagonist once again. But the next generation has arrived, and they didn't come for autographs. Getting your first big win on the Canadian Disc Golf Tour is a dream for many, and a strong weekend will turn fiction into reality for 2 athletes. They say Kamloops is boldly unscripted. Well, so is our first stop on the Canadian Disc Golf Tour, the 2024 Tournament Capital Open. Write your own story. A new season is upon us, and we are back in the familiar grounds of Kamloops, British Columbia for the 2024 Tournament Capital Open. Welcome to the first event of the 2024 Canadian Disc Golf Tour, brought to you by the PDGA of Canada, the patrons of Parked Pro, and special people just like you. And joining me, Matt Lisac in the booth today, is Jesse Tomalty. Jesse, welcome.
Hello. I am so excited to see this new Logan Lake course in play. I've been seeing nothing but great things about it, and all the progress pictures going up on Instagram from Brett Hanna. I didn't get to play it this year, so this will be my first look at the course, and I cannot wait to see it.
You are familiar with Logan Lake as a course prior to these changes, I'm sure.
Yes. It was the second tournament course I ever played, actually. The BC Provincials were split here and Rose Hill in 2018.
Well, I think you're going to be impressed by the changes. And the first on the card to be challenging this new layout is, you know him, you love him, Thomas Gilbert from Toronto, Ontario. Power 4 days. His putt is, I'd say, in a pretty good place right now, so he's dangerous out there. And Justin Zimmer, someone you're familiar with out in BC.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't got to play with Justin himself, but I play with his brother Julian a fair bit. Justin throws a country mile as well and is very accustomed to carving hot lines in the woods, which I have a feeling will be a big factor here at Logan Lake.
And you might have seen him do a flip and maybe a somersault in previous tournaments. So next on our list is Nick Culver from Ankeny, Iowa. He's been residing in Canada. I don't want to say residing in case Canadian Border Services is watching this, but he's been spending a bunch of time up in BC. He's an extremely talented player from the US, and I'm excited to see what he can do here. And a Canadian legend, Carver Whitford.
Carver Whitford, yeah, a putting machine, Carver. Also, no stranger to playing golf in the woods. I had the pleasure of playing with him in Golden at the beginning of the year in the Parked Pro Rusty Rating Series, and man, can that boy knock down a putt.
He can shred a course, and he is still junior age, but he is playing an MPO this year. He is taking cash when the cash has been won, and he's competing, and you can see by his rating, he's up there right now. So hole 1, this hole used to go uphill and to the right. They've carved a new fairway over to the left. There is OB all along the left-hand side on this hill, so if you get a weird skip off of this hill or you hit a tree and kick left, you're OB. That is the danger. And then it kind of straightens out to a 45 here to the final approach. It is a par 4. It is 415 feet, but it's way uphill, way uphill. So this one is a very difficult starting hole, and you get to watch all the cards go out in front of you, try and thread discs through these trees, and as you can see by the protective bamboo on them, those trees are at risk of getting hit.
Yeah, as a starting hole, this has got to be one where you just want to stay calm and place yourself nicely in the fairway.
Or,
ooh, and as I say it.
you hit a tree. I think Thomas might have been trying to go outside there. There is a forehand over the OB. It's extremely dangerous, but it does get you through a few more trees. We'll see Justin and
Wow.
similar result.
Same tree.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of camera jitters, and like I said, that's a demanding fairway for a starting hole.
It is. It's a rough fairway, and Nick.
Oh my!
We're going 3 for 3 on.
All right, Carver.
Maybe not the first available, but 3 for 3 early for sure.
Yeah, tree appropriately armored, apparently.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, you can hear the crowd approve of that one. Carver is a fan favorite everywhere he goes, obviously. Just infectious attitude, and, he's beaten just about every adult out there, so everyone's had that Carver humility beat into them a little bit.
Absolutely. He's been a member of the scene since he was really young, and I think the players that grow up in the disc golf scene, they get a lot of affection from the other players.
Definitely. Everyone likes to see a talented junior see their promise through. I think the first time I lost to Carver, he was 11, so, no shame in losing to Carver out there.
Absolutely not. Seems like the gang is putting themselves in good position to get their pars. Nick here looking like he's forced to kind of lay up on the other side. We'll see what he's left himself with here.
Yeah, there is one designed fairway, and then once you get off that designed fairway, the fairways can vary between 4 and 12 feet, I would say, in width.
Yeah, I think these are all achievable scramble shots and fair for, a punishment for the mistake like that. Great shot by Thomas getting deep in the circle.
And again, really nice design. It really makes use of the risk and reward, because the OB does, like I said, it goes all the way up the left-hand side of the hole from where you're throwing from. So every single shot has a risk of either skipping or kicking OB right. So that might have also been part of why we saw some first hole jitters there, because I'm sure in the practice rounds, a lot of these guys had at least one drive on this hole go OB and maybe even an upshot.
Well, yeah, if you're trying to take a lot off the tee, you can get big kicks off of these trees. And it's funny that you couldn't throw through them if you tried, but you can often find yourself a 200-foot kick on courses like these.
Mm-hmm. Oh, spicy.
It's a miss from Carver that he'd like back. Yeah.
And really nice par save from Gilbert after being the first of the early tree hitters.
Mm-hmm. Nice cleanup for Justin.
And after the best drive of the bunch, Carver just doesn't capitalize on the green, but he'll put it back in for a par. And
did we miss Nick's putt there?
It's possible we might have missed an upshot there.
Yeah, I thought he had landed maybe just outside circle 2 after his third. So
it is entirely possible. We're trying a bunch of new things on the coverage this year. We've got some cameras on more cards, so we are going to see more than just this feature card here in round 1. So the trade-off is, you know what, we're just going to artistically skip a couple of shots here and there. Totally off purpose. Hole 2, downhill, 322 feet, plays a lot shorter than that, and it's kind of an S curve through these trees. So you're going to see some people forcing over a backhand if they're a righty. You're going to see some forehands that kind of go straight and then dip down to the left, and you're going to see some people just trying to go straight with the hyzer and hoping to plinko down around the green here. Everything's protected by tall trees, so any of those ways to get there is totally viable.
I believe this is one of the original fairways as well. I'm not sure if maybe the tee pad got shifted left or right, but I've definitely played this hole in the past.
Yeah, it was a new tee pad material. They're obviously doing a lot of improvements out there. My recollection is that it was a more straight to hyzery type of throw down the hill originally too.
Yeah, the green was very familiar to me, but it also looks like they've done some work to limb up these trees and make the outs a little more fair.
Yeah. Yeah, Brett and the crew, they were spending a bunch of time down there. All right, and we didn't really mention it at the start. Carver is definitely capable backhand and forehand. Given the choice, he's going to lean on that forehand, and he's really good with it, and he's accurate, most importantly, with it. So anytime there's going to be a gap to hit, you're probably going to see a forehand out of Carver. And that one turned over way too much for Nick, but then he got hit by a tree.
Ooh. Yeah, a bit of a wall in front of him there. That'll be a challenging out for sure.
Yeah. Very sensible. Beautiful stuff. Yep. Justin's got a ton of control. Like you said, he does throw really far, but his form, if you just saw a picture of him throwing or video of him throwing, you wouldn't think that disc was going a mile out of his hand because it's very smooth and controlled.
Yeah, I think he's the opposite of Carver. He'll opt to use his backhand whenever possible, and it is one of the smoothest backhands that we see around here.
Yeah. And he cleans up capably for a par.
Yeah, nice putt. A good distance to start to feel your putt early in the round as well.
Oh, I like those. As long as I make it, I like those. Give me a 10 to 15 footer to give me some confidence at the start of a round.
Nick, gonna wish he had that one back for sure.
Yeah, rough start for Nick. At I think it was 10-14. He's going to be one of the highest rated players in this event, and you got to think he's got pretty high expectations for himself coming into this one, and going bogey to start. It's probably not going to feel great for him.
Yeah, I don't know Nick personally, but I follow his Instagram and some things like that, and he has very high expectations of himself.
Really nice, clean textbook form from the guy, too. Mm-hmm. He's got a nice slow run up here. So, as mentioned, we've got some bonus footage here. We got Sam Sullivan. He popped off at the Big Bear Classic this year. I think a lot of people probably hadn't heard of him, but he is on to a hot start, and he is one of your co-leaders early in the round.
Yeah, I just became aware of Sam this year. He is a Canmore local, but he also played very well at a Rusty Ratings in Radium. He played blind on that course and was in the hunt for it up until like the last third, I think.
Wow. Okay, hole 3. Beautiful lake hole, 242 feet. Kind of a chip shot forehand for a lot of these players over the lake. This is one of the new holes. I love this addition. It is scenic. It's beautiful. It's gettable, but there's also danger. There are guardian trees protecting this island on the other side, so you got to filter it in through the right spot here.
Yeah, I like that these late trees are left in, so you can't just kind of chuck one up there. Ooh. And Thomas whizzes one right by the band. Beautifully thrown shot.
I think Thomas saw the hill on the backside of this green and thought, all right, it's ace run time.
Yeah. No, it's great because as long as you're committed enough, you're going to get that disc to stop on that slope.
Yeah. Justin,
wow.
Backhand. Yeah! Oh, my goodness.
My God. Justin Zimmer. Holy smokes.
3 holes in, ace on the card. I got to hear what he has to say about this one.
That was one of those moments I'll probably never forget. Like, I don't know, rolling up to the course, being filmed for my first 8 here this year, and I was pretty anxious. Then I couldn't believe that one went in on the 3rd hole because, I don't know, I wasn't really looking forward to putting on that green. So, easiest putt, I guess. You just throw it in from 250 or whatever. Yeah, I was happy with that hole this weekend. Hit the metal the next day as well. So, it was a nice little hole that they added to the course there. That was my Innova. So yeah, just a little buttery putter that's like beat in, and I don't know. People are calling it this yellow nasty color, but it's been in my bag for a while, and it's just a magical little Anheuser disc.
I don't think anyone's going to be calling that a yellow nasty color after that ace. Holy cow!
Like a nasty ace than a nasty color.
Oh my goodness! And the only guy going backhand at it so far.
Yeah, Carver catches one of those late trees, but inside enough to stick there.
I tell you what, Jesse, having an ace happen that early in the round, better than a cup of coffee.
Better than a cup of coffee. Yeah, and I will say that the Zimmer gang and most people that play at their local course, Thin Air in Rossland, throw understable discs spectacularly. It's a very high elevation course with a lot of shape to it. So you need to go a little less stable to get your discs to fly straight, and they are all experts at those types of shots.
Ooh. And he big putted Thomas Gilbert.
I think he might have big putted everybody in the tournament. Yeah, I didn't see. Thomas is probably just a little high left there. A little harder to tell from this perspective.
Yeah. Good putt by Carver. Nick should be able to clean up, get his first birdie on the card.
Yeah, I see the basket here being just a little bit elevated. Being too far up the hill, putting down at it might make that putt even more challenging.
Now, if somebody gets an ace and somebody else gets a par, does that still count as a star frame or no?
That'd be a very lopsided star.
Yeah. Thomas ruining the superstar frame there.
That would be great. You know, you got to run your ace in, but this would be the one opportunity where Justin could have swam his ace in.
That would be something else. All right. Thanks to Logan Lake. The district of Logan Lake helped support this tournament a ton. Really had a bunch of fans of disc golf for the weekend. So, scoreboard, Sam Sullivan, as mentioned, he is in the lead after 6 holes. Connell McLeod is one back of him with Ryan Watson. So we've got the young guys, we've got the old guys, we've got Ben Atkinson from BC. We got a few guys under par here through the first handful of holes.
I thought it was like a travel Osoyoos.
Well, I would recommend traveling to Osoyoos after you check out Kamloops, boldly unscripted. Hole 4 is a par 4, super tricky, tight tee shot. Just to get to this landing zone, you see this cleared out grass here. That's kind of where the ideal landing zone starts, because as we do a nearly 90-degree turn to the left, you can see 2 sort of fairways here carved out on either side of this tree on our right, and they will hyzer out for these backhand players into a slightly hilly green here. So 2 real technical shots. At 480 feet, it's not a real power game, but this tee shot is so tight. It doesn't even really, the camera doesn't really do it justice here. You got to keep it straight and you got to keep it low, and then you got to get it moving left if you want to cut off some of the distance.
Well, that looks like a great shot there from Justin. I love these kind of 2-shot technical par 4s. It's a part of the game that I think we're starting to lose with modern course design, being a big driver rip off the tee all the time. Placement here and hitting the gap, both absolutely critical.
I couldn't agree with you more. I love it when I don't even mind like a shorter drive and a longer up shot just to mix it up too. I think every shot should have some element of placement to it in disc golf.
Yes. I like the low ceiling off the tee as well. It's going to stop people, especially like Thomas, from being able to cheese the hole and throw a giant hyzer over the top or something.
Yeah, and you know, if he could, he would.
Yeah, use the tools that you have, and he definitely has that one.
Yeah, I believe that was his...
And apparently, and the touch for the short drive as well.
Yeah, this just in, Thomas Gilbert can throw a Frisbee.
Yeah.
I think
Thomas
that was
Gilbert.
his Aspen Meadows Destroyer. Somebody had gifted him. He is a collector of Canadian tournament discs from tournaments that he didn't play at. I saw him throwing a Lost Egg Destroyer at Foxwood last year. Wow. And this year he's throwing a Aspen Meadows Destroyer after not playing a Falcons Flight. So
he is the most visible Canadian on tour, and it's really nice for him to keep those things in his bag.
Yeah. And after that pretty perfect drive, that was as good as you could ask for on the upshot.
Justin is locked in right now.
Yeah, it can go 2 ways after getting an ace, hey? You can either dial yourself in and say, ooh, and say we're gonna have ourselves around here, or sometimes people get really flustered after an ace.
Yeah, it's hard to live up to that, and I think you feel the pressure to do so, but... Ooh, nice birdie cleanup from these two to start.
Yeah, we're 4 holes in now, and I think the crew are starting to get their feet under them a little bit. We're going to see Carver, who almost made that long putt, bag the only par on this hole. This is a difficult hole. I imagine it averaged, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think this probably averaged on the harder half of the holes, even though there's a lot of difficult holes out here, just because that drive is so touchy, so picky. Really
yeah, it's probably bogey at best with a lateral kick early off the tee.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sam Sullivan on hole 7 for the solo lead. Just misses the long one.
Dang.
So he is tied for the lead now after 7 holes. He's a couple of holes ahead of our feature card here, so.
Yeah, he's got a great straight floaty putt, and he will make a few of those for sure.
Oh yeah. Hole 5, way uphill again, 242 feet. It doesn't mean people are throwing putter on this one. I think people are just going up to mid, maybe even a fairway, because this one is pretty much straight up a hill. And then I like an uphill shot like this where your disc has to sort of follow a straight trajectory, because normally when you're throwing something uphill with a backhand, she's going to tail way off to the left, and that'll get you into trouble on this one. So. All right, 3 down and after his last 2 holes, and he hits the last guardian tree there. That's about as tight as you have to take this one up this hill.
Yeah, it looks like the turn and the elevation are both pretty severe here.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the original holes as well. This one felt familiar to me when we got out there. I hadn't played since 2017, I believe, at this course, so.
Definitely looks like it's in the spirit of the original course. I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah.
I think that was a tactic from Mr. Culver and a well-thrown shot. Thomas as well.
Yeah, there is a risk of hyzering out a little bit too much, and Carver found, looks like he's going to be inside a tree or just behind a tree. He's going to have an obscured putt for sure.
It's a good approach from Justin. He should make that putt.
Yeah, Carver is in a tree. What?
And he's in the basket too.
Big Annie floater putt from Carver. That was, I would say, early circle 2. Wow.
That's just great disc golf throwing skill. Nobody practices a putt with that much angle. That's just seeing the line and executing.
Putt. Yeah. That's playing catch with your friend in the parking lot, throwing one of those shots.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's in for Nick. Hopefully he can get the putt going. Slow start on the putter. Definitely didn't do him any favors, but it looks like if he puts all the pieces together, he can have a great round still.
Yeah. We got good momentum, good positive energy, obviously, after that putt and after the ace. So the guys are feeling it out there, hunting the low scores. What a putt.
Yeah, so focused. Eyes on the prize the whole time.
Loves it, especially after missing a couple that he probably should have made earlier in the round. And now we're going to get a cameo from Ryan Watson, who's 4 down. He is on hole 9, and he is tied with Sam Sullivan at the top.
Yeah, one of his signature turbo putts there. That is a Ryan Watson classic.
And now to respond, Sam to take back the outright lead on hole 8, and he cages.
Oh, no. Just an inch short.
Yeah. And we got a Connor Smith sighting. Always
Connor
nice to
Smith
see a
playing
Connor
MPO.
Smith. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I did not know he'd moved up. I watched Connor play a little bit early in his tournament career, and he's a great dude, and I hope he plays well.
Yeah. Hole 6, par 4, 588 feet. This, I believe, is another one of the original holes. This is a very challenging hole because you've got this drive without a really huge defined fairway on here. So you got to know your landing zones, and it's all blind from the tee pad because it goes up over a hump and then down into this little section here. So people going with a nice turnover, or sometimes you might see someone just go full blast mode and have it hyzer way out to the left and sort of find their own fairway on the left side of the hole. I could see flex forehands being pretty common because it follows the shape of the hole. But some of these more backhand-oriented guys are going to be going with this backhand turnover like Nick did. And, yeah, that's about right. Just getting caught up by one of the many trees on this fairway.
Yeah, this hole is definitely a green that was in before. And I want to say it might have been a par 3 prior. But there's a lot of trees, a lot of things to navigate. But the spacing is fair. There's probably very few places where you have no play, but there's a lot of places where you have very challenging outs and upshots.
Oh, yeah. Carver going for the flex just doesn't quite get it to flex around enough, so he's going to be scrambling to make his par from there.
This looks good from Justin.
Yeah, we can see Justin's power we mentioned on full display here. It's really like small walk up to the disc, looks like he's not even really putting a ton into it, and then just smash. That disc leaves his hand in a hurry.
Ooh, Carver probably going to have to take his lie from under the tree here. We'll see if he plays this one from a knee or if he can reach out enough to...
He's going to give it a run up.
Yeah, he's going for it.
Good commitment, good angle, maybe a little bit overturned.
Yeah, another tree, another challenging out, but good forward progress.
Yeah. Most importantly, he bit off some distance.
Boom.
So he's going to have a shot.
Got to be.
He'll have a chance.
Circle 3,
Yeah.
but that's Carver range.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say a little bit early from Nick, but actually he juiced it a little bit too much there. Right idea.
Little long, little right. A circle 2 look for him. We'll see if he's built that putting confidence up enough in the last couple holes.
And this is one of the holes where we can see a power advantage from Thomas here. He was able to go over top of a lot of that stuff and get himself into a pretty straight approach territory over there. But he and Justin both left a little bit of work to do for themselves here.
Yeah, I think maybe focusing more about navigating the trees than getting the disc there.
All right, Carver.
Let's go, Bullfrog. Oh.
Yeah, he's got that distance. And circle 2 makes it happen around the tree. What a birdie from Thomas after probably an upshot he'd want back. That's what pros do.
It feels so good to erase your mistake instead of watching it go down on your scorecard.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, Justin can't do the same.
Yeah. All right, after going long, Nick's got a shot here. Just leaves it low.
Yeah, just a little low.
He doesn't feel totally committed on his putts to me yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, rough
Uncharacteristic miss from Carver from that distance. He's going to want that one back.
Yeah. You always hear these stories, Jesse, of players practicing their putting.
I've heard stories about that. I'd like to know what it's like.
Yeah. Well, I think you could ask Carver, because he's one of those guys that has been practicing putting since he was a half of my size. And the difference shows. The confidence on the green, he's going to run everything, and he's probably going to hit some sort of metal, and usually that metal is interlinked with other pieces of metal. Same for Thomas Gilbert. You know, you can't get to the place where Thomas Gilbert is without practicing a lot of putting. All right, Sam on hole 9, which we'll see in a few holes. He absolutely parks it. That's going to be a drop-in birdie for him. Going with the backhand line, Sylvain Verrier. Almost aces the hole. And then back over to hole 8, Connell McLeod. He is now tied for the lead, going 5 down through the first 8. There's some low scores going in here, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm impressed. This is not an easy course, and some guys are making it look that way. We've got Connell, Sam, and Ryan tied up at the top. We got the old, the middle, and the young there battling it out. Thomas, Justin, Johnny, Luke, and Eric all tied up, chasing them down at 3 down. Oh, with Griffin as well.
Yeah.
And our friend from Calgary, Josh Keast, one back of them.
We've got multiple teenagers on this top 15, I would say. I can't remember where Carver is exactly, but you know, Connell McLeod, teenager, Luke Levesque, teenager, Carver Whitford, teenager. It's incredible to see some of these players coming up to the top of these MPO leaderboards before they're allowed to vote.
Vote, drive, yeah.
Hole 7, 346 feet, very challenging line on this one. Big turnover, Anheuser, big forehand over the left, both totally viable here. This is a tough one to get inside the circle on, so we're probably going to see some long putts on this one, and the ideal forehand lines have trees in them, so...
Yeah, this looks pretty tight off the tee. You might have to push it out way wide, get enough height to come back around.
That's what Thomas does, but he catches a couple of trees, so...
It just takes the legs off of that one a little bit. I think it would have swung in behind those trees.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick gets through a little bit further. Still going to have a long putt here. And Justin going to the forehand. Never mind what I said about the backhand turnover line. If Justin Zimmer's throwing forehand, it's probably not a great backhand line.
It looks like he was going for a little bit of a tighter shot, and I think based on what we've seen from Thomas and Nick, that might be required if you really want to base this one.
Yeah.
Carver going bigger and wider, still a little short, but should have a less obstructed putt there. Justin showing you the power of dead and unattached.
And just it's a good flex to move an entire tree by yourself. All right, we are going to that longer basket. He almost black aced it into the shorter basket.
Yeah, that's a heck of an obstacle.
Yeah, and was not a great throw by him. And now he's just left with an approach. Not the way that he wanted that hole to go.
No. Oh my goodness. Tommy G from downtown.
Oh my goodness.
Seems like it had slowed down enough that being high in the chains didn't quite penetrate enough to get it to drop, but that was straight on that basket.
Wow. And just off
more metal for the card.
As fun as it is to watch Thomas Gilbert throw a driver as hard as he can, it's also fun to be out there watching him putt because, you know, the video always makes, I think, putting look a little bit easier than it looks in real life. Like 30 feet in person, to me, looks way bigger than it does on video. And watching Thomas run 40, 50, 60, 70-foot putts is one of the joys of watching Canadian disc golf in my mind.
Yeah, last year's TCO actually up at Rose Hill, there was the island hole coming back past the parking lot. And I remember Thomas step putt from about 110 and made it to the basket.
Yeah. Okay, hole 8. This is one of the new holes. This hole used to come back from all the way over to the right, head onto this road, and then I believe go up the hill to the left. Now we are throwing down the road to this opening where it does a 90-degree turn. There is a Mando here on the corner, so you can't cheese it over top of everything on the right. You gotta get around this corner, and then there's a straight shot down a pipe to the basket. Another accuracy and distance control required on both throws kind of holes.
Yeah, this one looks like it could have the most teeth of the par fours we've seen so far. Landing in a place that can access that mouth is paramount to success here.
Yeah, if you didn't get out and do some practice rounds out here, you're at a serious disadvantage. But I believe all these guys have an idea. They've got a visual marker telling them where to go on this one, so it's just going to be about execution. And when you're on feature card with cameras on you, that's what tends to get difficult.
Yeah, you've got Matt and Andre gunning you down while you're trying to make this difficult shot.
And Thomas goes, I would say, just a touch too far. He'll probably have to flex a forehand back through the gap because he got a little bit too much forward progress on this drive here.
Yeah, that looks like a bit of a challenge. The guys look like they need to throw a flex to get the most width possible, make this fairway as big as it can be, but introducing that flex also helps these forehands carry a little bit farther.
Yeah, and nearly perfect from Carver there. Really well executed.
Wow, backhand from the elder Zimmer here.
And he's going to end up about a foot from the OB after that shot.
Oh, boy.
And maybe even worse than that, he is way out of position. So we're going to see Justin do something a little bit crazy here.
I cannot wait.
He's going Sky Annie over everything. And unfortunately, doesn't quite make it over everything. But really exciting attempt by Justin there.
Yeah, getting himself a putt from that position is still a great result.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thomas was able to push that right side there and get a backhand all the way through. Skips a little long, but nicely done by him. And you can see the advantage of, well, you can see from where he was throwing from, there is an advantage to having that hallway lined up. Nick did not execute that shot to his standards either.
Just a little bit high and hyzery. Sometimes it could be hard or to really do these tunnel shots properly when you're scared of overcommitting into the other side of the trees, and the result is undercommitment. And I think that's what we saw from Nick there.
Certainly.
Yeah, Justin just chips up. You can see him begging the disc not to roll. Gets what he needs out of it. Oh, just low from Carver.
Yeah, right on line. I was wondering why you called him Bullfrog, and then I saw he's putting with bullfrogs.
Yeah, yes.
It's a weird nickname to give to a guy, but...
Call him the Bullfrog. No, he putts with bullfrogs. A little less popular mold from Innova, but man, does he make them look good.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Uncharacteristic miss from Thomas.
Yeah, you can see how quickly he picks his mini up that is not something that he's okay with.
Yep. This whole average
from Nick.
4.1 in the first round, which makes it the 5th hardest hole on the day. There was only 5 holes that averaged over par, which is very surprising because these are very technical holes, but we had a really competitive field out there. So, and
yeah, with the this amount of woods and OB and Mandos on certain holes, I'm really surprised how well that people scored out here.
Yeah. Okay, Thomas doing the classic visualize your putt after you missed it. What do you think about that one?
I think visualizing your putt beforehand is great, and then just reinforcing your habits after does a lot.
I agree. Hole 9, this is one of the cooler holes on the course. It's uphill. It's probably a forehand for most of these guys. It's 278 feet, and your disc is going to go over top of one of these 2 beautiful fallen trees out here. We are just a half hour from Kamloops, and it is, you wouldn't know that we were anywhere near a major city out here. This is like lake country, beautiful, huge spruce and pine forests out here, and the visuals are incredible. And that's a pretty good way to get to this basket.
This is one of the more unique greens, and something about the fallen trees and the wall you have to beat gives that kind of like Southern California golf vibe to it while you're in the woods. Absolutely beautiful.
Totally. And it's not a gimme. This one played on the easier side. I think this was the 5th easiest hole, but you still got to get sneaky on that drive and hit the right gap there, just like Carver did.
Yeah, I think this one is a fair birdie, but also a fairly easy par. Even hitting early, the gaps are big and the distance doesn't ask too much of you.
Yeah.
Great backhand from Justin.
And it looks like this course, rough kick from Nick there.
Not great from Nick, going sensei there.
Look at this backdrop, though.
Yeah, look at the beautiful broken tree.
And Nick's not 3.5 feet tall. That's a massive tree.
Yeah, that's right. That tree's got to be, I don't know, at least 30 inches thick off the ground.
All right. After doing the visualization on the last one, he's still right side, but it catches chains in the right way. That's going to stem the bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice to have a similar distance putt and correct it right after,
Yeah.
Settles you down.
Yeah. And Justin's keeping pace with Thomas out here.
Yeah. Nick slaps in his bogey. That's another hole that won't be played to his personal standard. He'll want that one back in the next time he plays here. Good birdie from Carver as well.
Yeah. So some nice holes, mix of things. everyone faced a little bit of adversity on that one, as it should be. And we can see Carver, the forehand expert, just picking the exact spot on the fairway, digs in. Probably something Firebirdie if I had to guess.
Based on the color of that one, maybe even a Sexton Firebird.
Possibly. Maybe he stole it from Thomas's bag. Who knows? All right, so after 9 holes for our feature card, we have Connor McLeod. He's a couple of holes ahead. He is 6 down. Sam Sullivan and Ryan Watson 1 back of him. And then we've got Thomas Gilbert, Jonathan Munka making his way onto this top 10 along with Eric Hjorth Olsen. We've got Justin, we've got Benjamin, we've got Miguel, our first Miguel sighting, and Griffin Vester all hanging out in that top 10. A lot of familiar BC names. None of these guys I would call a real surprise on this leaderboard. What do you think?
No, absolutely not. It's nice to see a shuffle up because I think Miguel might have been our only new addition. That has been a very steady leaderboard from the gang at the top.
Yeah. So we're just getting going here. This is going to be a fun tournament, Jesse. Are you going to stick around? Are you going to stick around for the back 9?
You better believe it.
Oh, hell yeah. And you at home should stick around for the back 9 too. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. It takes half a second. We'll see you on the back.